Welcome to part 2 of lesson 9 for 8th grade ready lesson. So let's continue with the story that we had started in the first part of part 3, the guided instruction. So it says continue reading the science fiction story, then answer the question that follows. Now before we read, let's look at the closed reading. It says before you start summarizing, underline the names of important characters as well as clues about the setting. Circle important events. So let's read. Now that the Ulysses has landed, it is time for Young and her team to begin exploring the planet's surface. Spectra Omnicron 8 is little more than loose rocks of red clay. One of the Captain Young's top priorities is establishing the Ulysses base camp with its many dome sections. With so much carbon monoxide in the atmosphere, oxygen corridors must be built to connect the domes, which will be used for farming, geological research, and communications. A molten carbon drill will then be constructed in the camp center to burrow through to the planet's core, carrying the terraforming unit that will aid in the surface reconstruction. So, remember, let's do the close read. So first, they wanted us to underline the names of important characters as well as clues about the setting. So the first character that I see is Young and her team. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline Young and her team. I can also see Spectra Omnicron 8, as well as, again, Captain Young mentioned a second time. And I do see a couple of other important details, such as the terraforming unit. I know it's not quite a character, but it is significant. And so now I'm going to go ahead and circle important events. So let me grab my circling tool. And I see, obviously, the first thing that's important is that they landed. So they landed, they started to explore the planet's surface. Oop, now that I realize that the planet's surface is the setting, and I was supposed to underline that, so let me do that really quick. And another thing that I can circle is that they established a base camp. That's also really important. So now, with that information circled and underlined, let's go to the question. So it says, which of is the best summary for this portion of the text? Is it A, Captain Young explores the planet's surface and begins building the base camp? B, Captain Young shows she is a strong leader by quickly establishing the base camp? C, the dome in the base camp will be used for farming, geological research, and communications? Or D, the drill at the center of the camp is made from molten carbon? Well, I see two answers that I might be stuck with. So I'm going to go ahead and do what's called process of elimination. So let's look at D. Now, D doesn't really make any sense because it's an unimportant detail and it's not even important in the events of the story. And I could say the same for C. But B looks like it might be a good answer. However, if you look closer, excuse me, the word strong expresses a personal opinion about Captain Young that it was not mentioned in the text. So while it looks like a good answer, because of that one word strong, it's really not a good answer. So that leaves us with A. A, Captain Young explores the planet's surface and begins building a base camp is the best summary. It's objectively stated all of the important details of the story. It includes the main character, the setting, and important events. So A would be the best answer choice. Of course, down here it's asking why the other answer choices were not good summaries. So I'm going to go ahead and type that out. So choice B was, oh, excuse me, I'm typing terribly. Let me try that again. So choice B was not a good choice because it is not objective. And then choices C and D are not good choices because they are unimportant details, not important events in the story. So that's what you would go ahead and type. Let me go ahead and fix this a little bit so that you guys can see it. And then go ahead and pause your video and make sure that you write in the correct answer. Okay, let's continue. So let's look at part 4 with the guided practice. So read the science fiction story. Use a study buddy in the closed read to guide your reading. So prime contact. Now before I read, let me look at the study buddy. She says, as I read, I will pause to summarize who the characters are, where the story is set, and what some of the important events are. Now let's look at the closed reading. It said, in addition to the narrator, who are the main characters of the story, circle the first mention of each one. And then they want us to underline important details that provide clues about where Alia was and the alien they have encountered. So actually, I'm gonna say that's Aaliyah. We're gonna call it Aaliyah. Okay, so Prime Contact by Justin Greenfield. Imperator's Log, the 36th of Quelnar, 4278. Today I had a fascinating meeting with a promising new captain by the name of Aaliyah. The first thing I noticed about her was the remarkable hue of her purple eyes, much more vibrant than the rest of ours. At any rate, she relayed to me how her crew had recently returned from a mission to the third planet from the central star, where they had encountered one of the dominant life forms. I inquired as to the extent of the creature's technology, and Aaliyah replied that they had advanced machines, but preferred to let their servants operate them. These servants live with them, in fact. There are often several servants in each home. They walk about on two legs, prepare food, and feed their four-legged masters. Aaliyah then told me that a member of this alien race had returned with them on their ship. Of course, I had asked to see the creature straight away, and when it was brought to my throne room, I was taken at how friendly it appeared, inviting but cautious. Its wide green eyes were alert and confident, but dare I say, bored? Since it was a very short and very furry sort of alien, I laid down on the floor to establish better verbal communication with it. I welcomed it to Harlepon, home of the Galactic Confederacy. The creature stretched out its front legs and appeared to bow. I distinctly heard an odd purring sound coming from it. A form of telepathic language it shares with its species, perhaps? Meow, it said, with great dignity before turning to the task of licking its paws. Fascinating. So let's look at the closed read. So they wanted us to first and foremost circle the first mention of each character's name. So I'm going to go back in the text and I'm going to do just that. So the first time we see our main character's name is in the very beginning here. We have Aaliyah. And we also have a member of this alien race. And they are not named. The next thing they wanted us to do is underline important details that provide clues about where Aaliyah and the alien that they have encountered. So let's go ahead and let's underline that. So the location here is the third planet from the central star. Sounds kind of oddly like Earth. They also had advanced machines. Let's see, in paragraph 4, it says they were very short and very furry sort of alien. And that alien then created an odd purring sound. And then, obviously, the alien eventually said meow and licked its paws, which we all can assume this alien was a cat. And so now that we've completed that, let's go on to the question. So, number 1 says, which of the following would you include in a summary of Prime Contact? Is it A, it's very funny that the Imperator doesn't realize that the alien is a house cat? B, the Imperator of Harlepon asked to meet the alien that has returned with Leah? Or C, the alien loses interest in the Imperator and starts licking its paws? Or D, the Imperator is fascinated by Leah's remarkable purple eyes? Now, obviously, if I'm trying to choose, answer A would not make sense because it's very funny, suggests an opinion. C is incorrect because it is a detail from the story but not an important event. And D is also an unimportant detail. So this leaves me with B, which is that the Imperator of Harlepon asked to meet the alien that has returned with Aaliyah. Moving on to number 2, which is the best summary for the last events of the story? Is it A, Aaliyah travels to the third planet and brings back an alien? B, the people of Harlepon are clearly very advanced? C, the servants of the Imperator describes must be humans? Or D, the alien meows and licks its paws, revealing that it is a cat? So, if you're going through all the answers, A is incorrect because it does not tell about the ending of the story, and choices B and C are incorrect because they give opinions, which then leaves us with D, the alien meows and licks its paws, revealing it is a cat, because obviously it is an objective statement that gives important information about the surprise end of the story. Number 3, it says Excuse me. The notes for a summary need to be arranged correctly in order of which the events occur in the passage. So indicate the correct chronological order at the events below by writing the numbers 1 through 8 in the blank. So we have an alien creature boards Aaliyah's ship. Captain Aaliyah tells how the servants care for their masters. The Imperator lies down on the floor. The Imperator meets with Captain Aaliyah. Aaliyah and her crew visit another planet. The Imperator notices the alien's confidence. The alien makes a strange purring sound, and the Imperator asks to meet the alien. Excuse me. Now, out of these, the very first one I can see that matches with the first events would be that Aaliyah and her crew visit another planet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a number 1 next to Aaliyah and her crew visit another planet. Now, if I'm looking for the next event, I do see in the text that the creature boards Aaliyah's ship because in order to take the creature to the Imperator, she has to obviously have this creature board her ship. So he boards the ship. Next, the Imperator meets with Captain Aaliyah. So I'm going to go ahead and put a number 3 there. If it would allow me to put a number 3 there. Let's try that again. Goodness me. Whoopsies. There we go. The fourth event I see is that the captain tells how the servants care for the masters. So I'm going to go ahead and put a number 4 there. Oops, that's a 44. The fifth event is that the Imperator asks to meet the alien. Then after that, the Imperator notices the alien's confidence. After that, we see that the Imperator lies down on the floor to discuss or on the same level as the cat. And then finally, the alien makes a strange purring sound. Okay, so hopefully with this, you'll be able to put events in order for a summary and also be able to identify which would be best for a summary, basically based off of the character's setting and plot events, as well as objective tone. And go ahead and you can complete your independent practice for this on your own. At least you should be able to.